I need to, man, these lights look, no, they don't look too bad, I guess. Need to open the garage. No, looks fuzzy, but it's not. What's up, Francisco? Look, man, I'm going live early. What do you think of that? Look, I'm going early. We're going to see how many people we can get in here by going live at a decent time. Do I get more during the day? Do I get more at night? I mean, we're going to have a guest come on soon, eventually, and we're just going to talk about some crazy stuff, and then talk about some business. And everybody says, "Oh, lawn care this, lawn care is easy, lawn care anybody can do it." Well, if anybody can do it, everybody would be doing it, I guess, right? The way I look at it. It's definitely not as easy as everybody thinks it is. Not as easy at all.
What are you doing?
On live? No.
Why not?
I don't care.
I'm bored.
Okay. Took last year off. Yeah, you said that in one of the other lives. Got 6 people in here, 2 people talking. Man, I tell you what.
Very interesting.
What?
There's 6 people and only 2 talking.
I know. We're going to talk business.
I know you got 7.
We're going to let you talk business to these people.
What am I supposed to say?
Because, well, you're in school, so you should be learning something.
You're funny.
Is what it is.
What am I supposed to be learning?
I don't know. But you should be learning something. There you are. Look at that. There you are. It costs money to start it, and it's not easy for sure. Started 2 years ago with a cargo carrier because I wanted to buy all my equipment with their money. There you go. There you go. It is something, though, that if anybody's looking to start their own company, or, regardless, if it's pressure washing, lawn care, whatever it is, there's nothing stopping you. You can start at any time. You could have started last November before winter hit. Like it's never too early, or it's never too late to start. You can start right now. I mean, it's the dead of winter. You can still start right now. There's nothing stopping you from starting. What's up, Franco? What's up, Williams? Big Williams in here. Look at that. Yeah. 3rd year, and I am finally ready to make money. 3rd year. This will be my 6th year. And yeah, 6 years. It's crazy. It went by that quick. Like I never thought it would seemed like yesterday I just started. Seems like yesterday she was just a baby. Just a baby. I took everybody's wrench away, Franco. Nobody has a wrench anymore. Nobody has a wrench.
You give me a wrench.
James Rose, howdy. What's up, man? How you doing? I only have 20 yards. Let me tell you something, man. If your yards are priced correctly, 20 yards, still good money. Still good money. That's what a lot of people don't get. If let's say you got 20 yards at $30 a line. Let's say you lowballed every one of them. They're $30 a line. Still $600 a week for 20 lines. That is more So you could probably do 20 lawns in 2 days, 10 a day. That's spreading them out. In 2 days, you can make more than you can working a full-time job. Now, granted, you've got gas, you've got insurance costs for the month, which is only like $40. You've got your gas and your equipment, and then taxes. So, still, if you're getting 600, then hey, have at it. Now, you should be around, depending on how big they are. Like my minimum this year is going to be $40. $20 gets me $1,000 a week. Look at that. See, bye Franco. $20 gets me $1,000, or 20 gets me $1,000 a week. See, that's good. That's good. I mean, by the time you pay gas, taxes, and everything, you made more that week than you did working a full-time job, making $20 an hour. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And he does it in 1 day. Look at that. See? Now, in the months of September and October, I start to do it in 2 days because I am my teaching job. So, yeah, man, you don't have to. That's what a lot of people think. They look down on us because we do lawn care. But, the money's there. The potential's there. All you got to do is have the mindset to be there. I got 10 yards. I'm only 15. 4 are right by my house. I pull my trailer with my Ranger. See, there you go. 15, 10 yards. $250. How big of a property is that? Good gracious. How big of a property is that? That's what we want to know. How big is that $250 property? I only mow 25 yards. My employees mow the other 280. There you go. There you go. That's probably the biggest. If you're a small guy, the biggest issue you will have is A, finding employees, and B, that'll be your biggest probably transition of getting used to is actually having employees. I make more an hour than I do teaching, but my benefits and retirement are very important. There you go. Well, that works. That works. That's why you start a Roth IRA or something and put money into it and not worry about it. That's what a lot of people miss out on is they don't look at the long haul of this. They just look at the I see you, man. I just see you. They don't think about the money putting back, So hey, every month I'm going to take this amount and I'm going to give it to like my bank does my Roth. And so, it's, hang on a minute here. My smoke. Oh, there it is. Let me find this. Well, we got 10 people. What? 10 people. Yeah, peace out, homie. Bye, Felicia. 2.5 acres. That's good. That's good. What's up, dude? What's up, Big South? Oh, look, another spam guy. I like spammers. Go spam somebody else. New Vision says, what's up, people? New Vision in the house. New Vision in the house. Guy around me had 150 yards. Well, his 4 guys bailed on him, and he had to drop half of them. I know that's what I don't want to do. is go through something like that. That's what I don't want to do. I've got a thing. I don't know what happened to it. Let me scroll for down here maybe and figure it out. Let's see here. Man, I can't believe we only got 12 people in here. This is crazy. Crazy born. Crazy born. Hola. Hello, Marilyn. How are you? Let's see. I don't know what I did with it. It's going to drive me nuts now. Drive me nuts. Let's look for it. Search. Oh, yeah, there we go. Search. Okay. Goodness gracious. Let's see here. You got a couple guys, they do 50 yards for you, and they realize they can probably make more by themselves than they may bail unless you offer benefits. Pay them. That's all right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, everybody, here's the thing about the side that the help don't see, and they figure out real quick is A, they don't think about gas. They don't think about maintenance. They don't think about taxes. They don't think about nothing. They just see the money and go, oh my goodness, he's making a killing. When in reality, ain't nobody making a killing. But they learn real quick. I try to aim for yards, $75, mostly more. More mowing, less trimming, because I like to take all the profit from my Before Obamacare, I had 61 clients. Afterwards, I dropped to 22. I've somewhat recovered, back up to 35. Yeah, that's the biggest thing about it is, they don't see the backside of everything, of what's going on. They just see they think the grass is so green, but they don't look at everything else. So, yeah, it is what it is. Whatevs. Where is this at? I'm getting close, I believe. I don't know. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. I don't know. No clue. Let's catch up on some comments. 16 people in the house. Don't know who it is because nobody talks. Oh, yeah, absolutely right. Nobody going to treat your equipment better than you. Facts. 100%, 1,000 million facts right there. That's it. Facts. Where did my daughter go? She's like left and didn't put the stool back. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have a heart attack over here. Oh. Yeah, solo with one guy or solo, that's probably the best way to go. Way less headache that way. But, learn to keep my stuff clean from Danny. Oh, we don't talk. I got to change the hydro fluid in the Toro. I'm going to film that of how you should do that. Like we're gonna hit it hard this year. Hit it hard this year. I gotta post this for somebody. They're gonna come up in the Chizat. And we're gonna chat. We're gonna chat it up. Oh, hang on a minute here. Okay. Oh, yep, I knew I did it. I knew I did it. Yeah. Okay. What up, Tony Newborn? Tony Newburn. Hello, Tony. Same for most mowers. Is it the same for most mowers? I don't know. I think it's a little different for each one because it could be a different amount of how you're going to do it. Not done it on the Ferris because it's getting close. But well, I say getting close. It'll be due probably at the end of the season for sure. But yeah, it's definitely ready now. Definitely ready now on the grandstand. It's not ready. It's actually early, but I do everything early. So we're gonna pop, lock, and drop it on the thing. Do you use mulch blades? I do not. My gas bill per week averages 150 to 200. Yeah. Yep. All day, every day, and sometimes even more is what it does. I don't know which better, that or this. I think this is better. That just looks too blown out of proportion, but I don't have a clue. What it does. I don't know which better, that or this. I think this is better. You need to mute that. This looks blown out of proportion, but I don't have a clue. What it does. I don't know which better, that or this. I think this is better. You need to mute that.
I was trying to get my Bluetooth connected. Sound feedback.
Are we still echoing?
Let's see here.
I don't hear an echo anymore. Sweet. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, okay, sweet. All right, everybody, this is Charles Vansel from C-Van Lawn Care. He's about an hour away from me, and he we talked to him on a podcast last year, and got it. Man, these stupid people. And got him. So we said we were going to do a checkup with him this year, but the year's really not started yet. But we will do another follow-up once the year starts. But this guy like almost quit, and like literally, I should have let him quit, honestly. I don't know what he's talking about.
For some reason, I'm hearing one thing in one ear and then a few seconds later, I'm hearing it in the other.
Well, you get it figured out, okay?
Here, let me try something a little different here. I'm working on it.
Some live action. That's right. Live action. Live. And this is only what happens live is craziness always happens live.
All right. Are you getting an echo?
No. That sounds fabulous.
Well, I actually just completely shut the Bluetooth off, so hopefully this will work.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
So for y'all that don't know, if you see Van Lawn Care, yeah, you might have to go and I don't think you can. Y'all hang on a minute. Let me copy his link real quick from YouTube, and I'll post that in the comments because he started his channel this year, and he's going to be doing a lot of videos for y'all. So I am going to post his channel for you, and if y'all would go check that out, and just you don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, but check it out. See, give him a little bit of time to figure out the whole thing here of what he's doing on YouTube, and then yeah, I gotta find it now because God forbid this is the worst thing ever. It's easier for me to find it on. I don't know how I can't find it.
Well, Danny, one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to do a giveaway, a subscriber giveaway. I'm not sure what number I'm going to set up for subscribers, but one of the things I'm going to give away is going to be this right here.
I can't see, so you just have to show them.
All right. Well, it's remember when I told you I had another heart tire inflator coming in the mail?
Yeah.
It's brand new, still in the box. I mean, I got to mark out my info off the tags and everything, but unopened, it's not going to be opened. That's going to be one of the things I give away. And then I'm going to try to collect up a few more things and try to give away, I don't know, 3 or 4 prizes on stuff. I just got to I just got to figure out what number I'm going to set at for the subscriptions. And, I mean, so hopefully, make the video when I do the video on promoting it, I'm going to make that kind of like my homepage video for my channel. And
man, I'm the type of person, Benjamin, that when I buy something, I buy for the long haul, man. So, I'm going to go big or go home. I just get the 590, and that's exactly what my first chainsaw I ever purchased was the CS 590 Timberwolf, and there's literally nothing. I met him on one of Float's live streams. Did you live with Float? I don't think you've met him, Big South. I don't think he knows who Float is.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen him talk a little in yours, but that's been it.
You've never went live with anybody else.
No, you're the only person I've ever been live with.
Have you went in Float's live stream?
Don't think so. Like I said, I think the only time I've ever seen anything with him has been when he's been in your comments and feeds and stuff.
Did that? Click on that link, see if it takes you to your page. Should. I'm confused on what he's talking about now.
Okay. I was going to do it on my phone, but it's not showing the link. Let me comment and see if it'll update.
Let's look here. Click on the channel. Yeah, it takes you to your channel. It's good.
Yeah, because it's not giving me the link. Not on my phone. It does on my computer, but not on the phone.
You don't see it on the comments?
On the computer, I do. But on the chat on my phone, it's not showing it. No, Big South met me on your stream the last time I was on with you. That was when he subscribed. I remember that. Okay, remember when we was on and everybody was doing the whole subscribing to everybody else's channels? Yeah. That was when he did it.
Nobody talking, man. Well, anyway, let's just keep on. Okay, so it's not as easy as everybody thinks. What's your experience of starting a lawn care business? Was it as easy as you thought it was going to be? Well, I mean, if your equipment wouldn't have broke down, would it have been as easy as you thought it was going to be to actually start one? Let's go there.
Well, like I've told you before, I've always mowed a few yards in the evenings and stuff for extra money. So yeah, I assumed it was going to be fairly easy to just transition to full time. But then once I started trying to do it full time 2 years ago, oh yeah, there was nothing easy about it. I mean, it was, I thought I was going to go out and mow the yards, come home, and everything was going to be good. But no, when I got home, then it was trying to figure out, track my receipts and, make sure all my customers had the receipts. And if I missed one, get it to them, staying in contact with my customers, just trying to keep track of everything. Just on the paperwork side of it, there's nothing easy about it. I mean, I was going out mowing for 10 hours a day and then spending 3, 4, 5 hours in the evening just doing the paperwork side of it, But when I started out, I had a paper receipt book. I didn't know anything about the tracking systems like yard books or any of that. I had none of that. And so, yeah, and then, it was when I was mowing a few yards an evening, just for the little extra spending money, I wasn't going through, as much wear and tear on my equipment. And then there was another headache and hassle because every time you turned around, I was sharpening blades or fixing something or buying something new. I think year before last, in that one season, I went through 2 leaf blowers and 5 weed eaters, 2 push mowers. It was definitely not as easy. And then the work itself, when you're just mowing a couple of yards in the evening, it was no big deal. But when you're out there running from one yard to the other, it is just physically draining on you. Especially
by the time at the end of the day, you're just bleh.
Well, out there this summer, working a couple of days a week with you, it was when we'd be in that truck on the way back to your house, it was like, man, I'm just so glad this day's over. My feet hurt. My hands hurt from the handle on that weed eater. My back hurt. Everything. More often than not, just from being out in the sun, the headache I had was usually unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And shoes, we ain't even gonna talk about shoes. I think you heard me cry more about my feet hurting than anybody you've ever met.
Said the heat zaps you. The heat will zap you.
Oh, it does. Well, if you remember, Danny, last year when I left you for a while, that heat put me in the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah, he was doing his own properties and ended up having a heat stroke.
Yeah, it was just, it's never ending. There's nothing easy about this. The money's good. The money's awesome. But, you got to be able to, one of the big things is know how to price. And, one of my big deals down here where I'm at is that $25 guy. Granted, I guess there is a place for the $25 guy, yeah. The 2 or 3 yards a week guy. Yeah, I can see him doing that. But it makes it hard for everybody else because chances are he don't have insurance. He's not buying blades every week or sharpening blades every week. He's not doing all that. He's not spending the amount on gas that we are, he can make it. Let me
ask you, have you ever had a client, because I hear so many people talk about stupid stuff. Have you ever had a client ask for general liability insurance? Not a commercial business, but a actual residential client ever asked for your proof of insurance?
No, I tell them I've got it, but I've never had nobody actually ask me to see it. And, I carry it with me just in case. But yeah, the only people that's ever said they needed it or wanted it was whenever I've been on commercial properties.
Right. Yeah, I've never had a client ask me for proof of insurance. And if they do, well, then that kind of throws a red. I mean, I'll answer the question, but it almost throws a red flag up to me.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what you're about to file against you.
Right, yeah, which is another reason of why I always video a property the first time I ever do it. I always video the property and do a walk around. Anything that's broke, busted, anything that could come back on me, period. A hole in the vinyl, so I don't care what it is. I'm videoing everything, fence, all. And,
yeah, you have to make notes of anything you see and let them know if they didn't know. So that way, I mean, everything's got to be up front, because once you start mowing their yard, if they see that, you're going to get blamed for it.
Yeah, they think you did it. So that's why I video the first time, every time, before I even step foot on it, because I don't have to worry about it that way. And then I can just go back to the video and go, nope, this is before we ever cut your lawn. Here's what it looked like.
One of the things about lawn care, though, especially with insurance, I mean, you got to have it. We get more BS claims filed on us than any other type of business, I think. I mean, it's like somebody's got a broken window on their car, a cracked windshield. You got your chute block.
You did that.
Going in, and they drive by and they see you got a sign on your truck or whatever. Next thing you know, they're filing a claim for you for the windshield that they couldn't afford to replace. People do it all the time.
Yeah, my insurance is on my email already, so I can pull it right up. And I think I've got it saved in my documents in my phone.
Yeah, anybody out there mowing without insurance, they're playing with dynamite. You may never get a claim filed on you, but you never know. I mean, it's a huge risk to run without insurance.
Let's see here. Apparently, I don't. I've got it in my email.
I mean, if you remember, I told you I busted that window out of that sliding glass patio door.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that customer there, he refused to file an insurance claim on me. As a matter of fact, I actually live in that house now.
Yeah, I don't even claim insured. Like when I tell people, hey, we're fully licensed and insured, I don't say nothing. I mean, I don't go into that whole spiel of, whatever.
Yeah, I had one of my lawn care buddies down here, the one I told you about that does the commercial and high-end residential only. The season before last, he was driving down the road, and a guy pulling a horse trailer with horses on it, and the trailer pulled out in front of him, and he hit him. I mean, it was 100% the guy pulling the horse's fault, but yet my buddy lost his insurance because he had a $500,000 claim nailed on him over them horses in that trailer. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
You read that?
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, it's against the law, but all these guys out here, they run. I mean, they're not. They just operate without insurance. I mean,
yeah, I don't think it's against the law here.
Well, I know
if you're doing.
I know here in the town that I live in, when you go apply for your city business license, you have to show them a copy of your insurance, and they
when I claimed or filed for like business license in Harrisonville and stuff like that, I've never been asked for insurance at all.
Oh yeah, here they're big on you have to have your city business license, and if you get caught mowing without insurance, they'll usually get you. But they usually only mess with people that have the signs on their trucks and things like that.
I've never worried about it, but I mean, I still don't worry about it because I ain't got nothing to worry about. Now, when I first started, do I believe you need insurance when you? Well, I mean, it's. Let me tell you something. I started my first year. I did not have it. My second year, I got it. Do you need it? No. But it's so cheap. Why wouldn't you have it? I mean, that's the thing is I didn't realize how cheap it was. It's like $41 a month.
Mine's cheaper than that.
Yeah, mine now. Yeah.
But see, I don't know what your coverage is, but mine's $1 million, and I also had to get them to add on for the underground drainage systems, but mine's like $39 every 90 days or something.
Huh? How the hell did you do that?
Just going through a local agency down here. My first year, I operated with an online insurance company, and it was only like $30 a month then, but I just felt more comfortable last year going with somebody local, somebody that I could actually go in and talk to.
Yeah, I've got extra stuff added to mine, and so mine's literally it's like 40, it's 41, 42 a month. But I mean, still, that's cheap. That's cheap, regardless. I mean, why wouldn't you have it? It's that cheap.
It is.
And
even then, it's a write-off at the end of the year.
Was get a CPA. Like that's literally that's probably the best thing I did was get a CPA and not have to deal with a bunch of crap, because that's way cheaper than most things too. I was against it for the first 2 or 3 years. Two years I was against it for the first 2 years. It was my third year before I got a CPA, because I never I called one place. I went in, did a talk through with them, and then they literally, it was, what was it? It was like, it wasn't cheap by any means. It was like $200 or $300 a month. And I was like, holy crap. Okay. And so I was like, now I know why a lot of people do this themselves. I never called around. Well, then I got to calling around, and they were the only ones that were really that high. And I was like, well, dang. So yeah, I had to switch. Yeah, I've got 2 million. Yeah, 1 million, 2 million. But I think I raised it because I could go to 2 million without any extra costs. So, but yeah, it really depends on the company. Some of them only ask you to have 500,000, but
well, when you get to dealing with the commercials, some of them,
most commercials make you have at least 1 million. My wife is my CPA. See, that's how you save money right there. That's how you save money right there. Save money.
Well, my wife, she does a lot of my paperwork for me. I mean, you stayed on my butt all year about getting a CPA. I just wasn't financially at that point, but it's one of the things I plan on doing just to get that load off of her alone. See,
I'm not an LLC because there's so many advantages to not being one when you're small. The tax bracket is so much better being sole proprietor. And I mean, let's just be honest. I've never heard of a small company being put out of business unless they really did something stupid. But
well, I actually did mine as an LLC, but I pay more in taxes and I pay them more throughout the year, but it does, to establish your business credit score. There's a lot of advantages there, which was my whole goal with the LLC.
Yeah, there's quite a bit, because LLC, you got to file quarterly taxes, where when you're sole proprietor, you don't have to do that. You can file yearly.
Well, as LLC, for the first year, you just have to file at the end of the year, and then after that first year, it becomes quarterly.
The first year, it's quarterly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it. It's literally talk to a CPA, see where your money is at, because until you get to around the $70,000, $80,000 mark, they're really most CPAs ain't going to tell you to go to a LLC until you get to that point. It's not, you make more doing it sole proprietor. But if you're truly a sole proprietor, then you've really got nothing to worry about, because then it's you.
Well, one of the other advantages, if you remember, I bought out that other lawn care company here a while back. One of the other advantages of having the LLC is, even as a sole proprietor, you got to file a DBA. Well,
right.
As an LLC, I can file multiple DBAs and they all will fall under that one account. I can use one bank account to deal with all of it. And my intention is to eventually get the DBA going and do a second lawn care company for my wife. It'll be a small one, and that way any biweekly she can take care of them. She can take care of the smaller yards. It's one in the same company, but it's like sister companies. And that LLC gives me that umbrella to cover both of them. They can both be covered on the same insurance policy, everything.
Hi, Anna. Bye, Anna. Man, they're in everybody's stream today. I've not seen one. I've not been in one live stream that didn't have one of them stupid bots come in.
Well, whenever I was live earlier today, I had that one come in that it was like, I can't even read that. I didn't know what to do because that was the very first time that I ever actually did a live stream myself. And, I'm still learning this whole YouTube thing and how stuff works.
What's up, Williams? I don't know if I said hi to Williams or not. Williams.
Hey, Williams, what's up?
Williams, you want to come up here, man? We have never had Williams on live stream. Threesome.
Look at here, Daddy.
Oh, God. Take it back. What's up? Grind Barner in the house. Grind Barner.
Huh? She says she ain't talking to you no more.
This guy's a millionaire. You see that big old boat he owns behind him?
Yeah, I've seen his profile on YouTube, and it's like, there's no way he's mowing yards. Not having a boat like that.
Daddy's not. Shane W., what's up, man? What's up? He says, Chappelle. Hello. Where's everybody at? Nobody. I just hate when it's not easy being me, says S&T. That's right. That's right. It's not easy being anybody. It's not easy being anybody, apparently. I don't know. Don't know.
How many of the people in here? How many of the people in here actually are 100% solo in their work? With no helper or anything.
There's some, but not very many.
Because I was just curious as to get other people's views on it. Because that's how I do it. So I was just kind of curious to get other people's views on it and opinions and ideas of how they do things to maximize their time effectiveness.
I'm going to tell you, if I was to do it, it would be me and one other person. And then eventually it's just going to be two of them. And I'm not going to be doing it. That's where I want to be. Sheila needs to work. David says me. Brian, OCD Barner, says him. Solo, besides the wife helping me here and there. Me changing that this year. William says me. Matt says I like solo. Big South says I am solo. There you go.
Looks like the majority of the room is.
It's easier to do it that way. You have way less headache. But huge shout out to all the people that can go and have crews and get the clients up to run two crews and the two crews. You really don't start making anything until you get to three crews, though. You can have two crews all day. That first crew's paying for them, and or that second crew's paying for them and the fuel and stuff, to help on the first crew. So, and then you got to get over that wall that wall of the second crew.
I think the reality of the situation is, though, if you're running more than one crew, it don't matter how many crews you got. I mean, you're not making as much money off of them as you are just operating by yourself. I mean, because there's just the expenses are threefold. I mean,
You got less overhead.
yeah, when you got all these crews out there, you got maintenance on multiple vehicles, maintenance on multiple pieces of equipment, the fuel cost of all that, your insurance brackets change, your tax brackets change, I mean, just everything. And it's just the startup cost of each of those crews alone. And I mean, when you go breaking it down, like B&B Lawn Care in one of his podcasts, remember when I was showing you about the one where he broke how much you actually make a yard down? He's got a podcast where he talks about breaking down the $35 yard. And by the time it's said and done, I mean, if you've got one employee, 15% for tax, 15% to pay your employee, then you got another 5% for wear and tear to replace it, and then another 5% for your operating costs, fuels and things like that. By the time it's said and done, on a $35 yard, you make $2. Well, then when you got all these other crews out there, you're making an extra $2 a yard that they're out pulling roughly, depending on the size of the yard. I mean, to me, I don't think it's worth all the headache of it.
What's up, Big D?
Hey, I'm going to mute this real quick. The woman needs to talk to me, and I'll be right back.
All right. I run 65, 70% now. I hope 30% with employees. Costco busy. Oh, Erica, how you doing? It's only like 2 o'clock over 3 o'clock over there. Geez, must be nice.
Can you hear me?
I haven't been solo in over 30 years and love it. Oh, I haven't been soloing. Okay. We might have over 70 employees, but that's why you have a management forum. 70 employees. See, I never want to
You hear me, Danny?
Yeah, barely, but yes.
Okay.
Turn my thing up here. Talk away.
Oh,
You
no,
ever have 70
you were
employees?
inviting people to come in, and I did. Williams didn't come in, so I figured I'd jump in and say, hey.
Yeah, I don't ever want to, some people, I look at it as this, you're as successful as you want to be. A lot of people base success off of what other people think.
Yeah.
And, I don't think you should base your success off of what other people think, because everybody has their own way of looking at success.
Right.
Me, I'm successful. I'm not, I made it past 5 years. I'm not bankrupt. I bought a new house. I've got lucky enough to buy all this equipment and pay it off at the beginning. I've only had to ever
It was all good to you.
Mower. Everybody has their own thing of success, and to Realty, it may be having 70 employees. That's success.
Right.
To me, I don't ever want to be that big, for one, because it seems like regardless of management foremans and everything else, it's still going to be a headache in the long run for me. And I don't like headaches. That's why if I wanted a headache, I would have stayed working for somebody else.
Well,
Go ahead. I used to be a truck driver, and the last 3.5 years of my career, I was an owner operator. And the one thing I found out, you were talking earlier about, having to buy gas and having to buy tires and blades and things like that. Well, when you're behind the steering wheel of that truck and you pull it to the fuel pump and you pump it and you see how much it costs, but someone else has to pay for it, that's a whole lot different than when you have to pull that out of your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got started, the way I got started in this, my brother, he lived about 90 miles away from me. and his wife's grandmother passed away. Well, they found out there was 4 different wheels. I'm trying to make sure my hand's in the camera. There was 4 different wheels that they had to contend with. So they needed somebody, because it was in the beginning of the spring, they needed somebody to keep up the yard until they could get this sorted out. Well, my brother worked 6 days a week, 20 hours a day. So he didn't have time to do it. So he asked me how much I would charge. I said, dude, you're my brother. I'm not going to charge you anything. Well, they sent me a check. Well, then I started telling people, that what had happened. Well, can you do my yard? Well, no, I don't want to do yard work for a living. Well, it just kind of fell in my lap. And the thing I have found, and I've had employees. I don't know if have you ever had employees, Dan?
Not a legitimate employee. No, I've had people help me like Charles did last year, but
I've had them that everybody wants a paycheck, but nobody wants to work, and nobody will work as hard for your business as you do. And that's the one thing I have found out. I had a guy, and I'm not trying to put anybody down. I don't mean it that way at all. He was young. He didn't know any better. His mom, Lord bless her heart, had rescued him from every little bit of trouble he had ever gotten into as a teenager. So he didn't know how to be responsible and stand on his own 2 feet. Well, he had been working for me for 3 weeks. And when we got to the job, he took the weed eater off the rack and he just stood there and looked at the yard. And I said, dude, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm trying to figure out where to start. And I said, it don't matter where you start, you just got to get it done. And he lasted 3 weeks. I mean, he literally lasted 3 weeks. And being solo, I'm in the truck by myself. I listen to the kind of music I want to listen to. I don't have to compete with anybody. Now, I will be honest. My son Nate goes with me every now and then, especially when I've got one commercial job. It's probably 6.5 acres. And we put 2 mowers on it and get it done, rather than me doing it all by myself. But I only do that once a week. And so, that's the only help that I have. I like being solo too much.
Well, one of the things about employees, I mean, it gets hard because usually you want to try to find somebody younger because they are going to be on the weed eater most of the time.
Yeah.
And, they see whether it's you going up to grab the money or you sending them up to grab the money, they see how much money you're picking up from each one of these properties.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing running through their head is, this guy's making all this money. Why am I not getting more of this?
Right. He's not paying me enough.
Yeah, but they don't understand the majority of that money goes in cost. I mean, the reality of the situation, I mean, there's a lot of money and you can make a lot of money. You can profit a lot of money. But, you've got to have that money to make that money. If you don't have it, if you're not making enough to put back, you can't replace that equipment when it breaks. You can't service that equipment. And that's where the problem with these younger guys come in. And I think, when I worked with Danny this last season, I mean, I have my own business where I'm at.
Why am I getting paid pennies?
Yeah, I have my own business where I'm at. So it was one of them deals. I mean, I worked for him from a business owner standpoint. I didn't look as Danny as my boss. When I got out of that truck, as soon as we pulled up to the house, I was usually out of the truck, weed eater in hand and going at it, because but that's one of the advantages of having somebody working with you that has their own company, because they look at it as the owner, not the employee.
Yeah. Do you have any issues when you go do a quote for somebody and you give them the price and they say, man, I can go buy my own lawnmower and do it for that?
Oh, I was actually in Danny's truck. I got a call this last season. Somebody called me for a quote, and I told them, send me their address, and that I was out of town. As soon as I got back to town that afternoon, I'd come look at it. And I told them I had a minimum drop gate fee of $35. And, it was an elderly couple. in the background, all of a sudden I hear him screaming, $35. I'm not paying over $20 to anybody to mow my yard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, then you better go buy a push mower. Because, I mean, you're hard. I mean, $25, yeah, he might find that. But $20, he's hard pressed to find anybody but maybe a 10 or a 12-year-old to mow his yard for that.
I don't know of anybody that has legitimate equipment that will last, that can mow a yard for that kind of money. I can't. I can't even drop my tailgate for less than $50.
Well, I mean, right now I operate with primarily used equipment. You know, it's like right now I'm running a used Swisher Z-Max with a 60-inch deck on it. I mean, it's a decent mower. It's not the fastest mower, but it's a decent mower.
Yeah.
But it's still the cost and maintenance on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
To keep it running.
I started out with a 22-inch Murray push mower and a home light weed eater from Roses. Now, that's no lie. My mother-in-law and father-in-law have an acre and a half, and I push mowed that whole acre and a half when I first got started.
Well, you know, back when I very first started mowing yards on the evenings and weekends, my boys are 17 and 18 now. They weren't even in school yet. Right. And, you know, I was a single dad. I got my kids out of foster care when their mom got strung out on drugs and lost them. And I had one place that I mowed out in the country. It was a farm. I'd known them my entire life. And it was an elderly woman. Her daughter hired me to mow for them. And it was a little over an acre, and I push mowed that thing. I mean, back then, that's all I operated with was a push mower.
My dog's trying to crawl in my lap here.
I didn't have a riding mower. I didn't have a trailer. I didn't have any of that.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I put my mower, the push mower, in the back of the trunk of my wife's car, and she didn't want the oil and gas and stuff getting all in the side of her car, so I had to put a plastic bag around the motor and then stuff it in a 5-gallon bucket and put it in the floorboard of the car. That's how I got started. And you know, to feed your family, you do what you got to do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You start with what you have, you know. And now, I mean, how long have you been in business?
As an actual business, I just finished my second season.
Okay.
It's been a struggle all the way through.
But yeah, absolutely.
If it wouldn't have been for Danny, I would have gave up this last season.
Right.
I mean, I was up there working for him, and then I was down here. You know, I was actually push mowing all of my properties, and Danny can tell you, I got some decent sized properties down here,
right.
And I mean, it was killing me. I was in the middle of one, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm finishing this yard because I've already been paid, and I'm done. I quit. And then Danny was one that was like, no, don't quit. You've gone too far. I said, Danny, I'm losing. I'm not succeeding. He's like, look, he said, you've went so far as to get your business license and everything else. He says, you're succeeding. Don't give up. But I was going to just quit and be done with it because, you know, I'm sure I'm not your age, but I'll be 50 in July and I got a lot of health problems and I'm sorry. I can't push mow these properties. It just ain't happening.
Right. I just turned 55 and I feel it. The only place I feel it is in my knees, but my heart and my mind is 25. My body, on the other hand, says, no, you're not. But, you know, don't quit, dude. I mean, it is so. Matter of fact, my son and I were talking earlier today, and I don't know that if I won the lottery, I would quit. Now, I know that sounds stupid. I would be really selective who I did work for, but working keeps me young. You know, working keeps me alive. Working keeps me going, and I don't know that I don't know that I could quit.
Well, I mean, I've always got to be doing something. I mean, when I don't have nothing else to do, like this time of the year here, if I don't have nothing to do, I mean, I know people that burn firewood that can't afford to buy it and have no way to cut it themselves.
Right.
I mean, I'll go out and cut firewood and just take it to them. You know, here, have this. You know, I mean, yeah, because I got to be doing something or my wife wants to kill me. she's ready to kill me right now because for the last couple of days I've pretty much been in the house. But this cold out there, my arthritis, they just don't get along.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to hide in the house, and she's ready to kill me.
But now you must be close to Danny.
I'm about 45 minutes away.
Okay. I'm down in North Carolina.
Yeah, you're a long ways away.
Yeah, right now it's 46 degrees. To me, that's cold. Because I'm
Don't come
North
to
Carolina
Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, it's in the 30s up here with real feels in the low 20s.
Oh, you're in the 30s?
Well, that's what it was earlier. Let me see.
It's 25 right now.
It says it's
The high
25.
for tomorrow is 17.
Yeah, it says it's 25 with a real feel of 17 here.
We're supposed to
I
get
don't know
snow
if y'all,
about tomorrow morning sometime. I don't know.
I don't know if y'all have one of these. If you don't have one of these, y'all need to get one. I'm telling you right now, that right there is the bomb diggity.
No,
Is
because
that
if
one
I
that
had
goes
one of those,
outside?
I'd want to put it right by my bed, and then I wouldn't be wanting to even get out of bed.
Like,
Well,
is
I
that
can't
one
buy
that
my
the
recliner.
other? It's two parts. One half goes
Yes.
outside, and that half
Yes.
stays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to get out of bed because I'd have it right by my bed so I could see
That
it.
tells you the wind, mile per hour, and everything.
It tells you the humidity. It tells you, the moon phase. It tells you everything. My sister has one in her kitchen. And every time I would go over there, because they're a commercial client of mine. They own a building company, and I do their residents, but it's a commercial account. But every time I'd go over there, I'd comment on it. Well, my wife bought me that this past Christmas was a year ago, and I'm telling you now, I don't have to wonder what it's like outside. I look at that thing and I know exactly how to dress. I know if I need to take an extra coat with me, what the wind speed is, all that. And I'm telling you, that right there, that's one of my favorite things. And but down here in North Carolina, we don't get snow. Now, do y'all have snow on the ground, Danny?
Not right now.
We had
did
snow
earlier.
this weekend, but I mean, it was gone by the end of like a day.
Yeah, we don't get snow. We get ice. We're in that. I don't know if Danny's ever told you where I'm at. I'm about 25 miles east of Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Well, I lived in Texas for 13 years, and when I very first moved down there, I mean, I'm down there in the wintertime running around in nothing but a flannel shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody down there is bundled up in coats, and they're like, "You're not cold?" And I said, "Yeah, this ain't cold. Where I'm from right now, it's in the teens or it's a few degrees below zero. This ain't cold."
Right.
But and down there, I lived down there by Fort Hood military base, and when it was bad weather down there, that's what it was ice.
Mm-hmm.
But when I moved back up here in 01, I mean, this cold killed me. I thought I was going to die. I was ready to move back to Texas. And the whole reason I left Texas is because I started getting heat stroke down there.
Oh, wow.
And, once you get that stuff, once you get heat stroke, you're suffering all the time.
Yeah, I've had a heat stroke. I was in my 20s, but I've been there.
I want to comment on somebody's post in the scroll here. Matt at MG Lawn and Landscape. He was saying that he recommends that everybody buy all their equipment before they quit their jobs. I mean, in theory, that's the way to go. But like whenever I started actually trying to do lawn care, as a business, it's just where I live at the job market here. It sucks. And I mean, we got a cheese factory and a boat factory, and we got Champion Brands oil where they repackage oil. There just is no money here. Top wages here are like $14 an hour.
Right.
And I had 2 teenage boys. And I mean, there was just no extra money. And I scrimped and saved and begged and borrowed and stealed to get what I had. And I mean, there was nothing about it that was pretty. I mean, I seen it like this. I get in there and I do it, I can use that money to pay for better. But yeah, I mean, not everybody has the option to buy it all before they quit their job. I mean, sometimes, lawn care is a go-to. I mean, if you got the determination, you can make money. It's like here where I live at, we got somewhere between 9,000 and 12,000 people here.
Right.
And I'll bet there's 50 lawn care companies here. I mean, it's cutthroat where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I mean, the reality of the situation is they're out there. A lot of them are out there starting these little businesses because of the income in this area. I mean, you got to drive 45 minutes to an hour to make anything more than $12, $13, $14 an hour.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not everybody has that chance. Would I have liked to have started that way? You're damn right I would have. I'd like to have started with a brand new truck, a brand new trailer, brand new mowers. But, I mean, it's just not a reality for everybody. And just because a person can't afford that, don't mean they can't succeed in this business.
Mm-hmm. When I started out, when I first bought a riding mower, I had my front yard was like an acre, and I was so tired of push mowing it, I didn't know what to do. So I was actually visiting my mom, and I left her house and I went to a friend of mine's house. And on the way there, I passed this roadside repair shop thing. He had 3 lawnmowers sitting out there. He had a push mower and 2 riding lawnmowers. Well, one of the riding lawnmowers I knew I couldn't afford. The other riding lawnmower, I thought, well, maybe. Well, I talked to the guy. It was a 1974 Craftsman. It had the opposed twin cylinder Briggs & Stratton engine on 18 horsepower. I bought that thing for $350, and I ran it until the motor blowed up. I bought another motor, put it on a brand new one, and I ran it until one of the spindles on the deck froze up. I went to buy another spindle, and they didn't make them anymore. So I had to get that. I took my motor off of that one. I went to another lawnmower, a different lawnmower shop. I bought a Murray that would fit my motor, a Murray body and frame. I ran that until the deck was slam up, and then I bought me a brand new. Well, actually, I take that back. It was not brand new. It was 2005, and I bought a 2004 Craftsman riding tractor. And I ran it. I think when I got rid of it, it had 600 hours on it. I mean, I run it slam into the ground. And when I sold that one, I bought my first zero turn. And it was in the wintertime was iffy because at that time it wasn't where it is now. And we had to really tighten our belts to make that payment.
Well, when I first started trying to get serious with the lawn care, even before I decided I was going to go at it as a business, three seasons ago, I went out and I got me a used Craftsman riding mower. It was in pretty good condition. It was good. And I went out and started trying to get jobs, and it was constant. Every time I'd try to bid on a job or pick up a yard, I would hear, well, you're not a professional. And I'd be like, what do you mean I'm not a professional? I've worked for lawn care companies, and I've been mowing my entire life. Even when I work a regular job, I still mow.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you don't have a zero turn, so you're not a professional. And, it's like anybody, if they've got the money, can run out and buy a zero turn, but not everybody knows how to operate one. They think because that thing will spin on a dime, that's how you turn it. You don't never tear a yard up doing that.
Yeah.
And so that's my next mower was a used Cub Cadet, and that thing there, it was junk. But
I've been there.
Oh, this one here. Well, not only was it in bad shape when I bought it, I didn't know nothing about actually service and maintenance on a zero turn, so I didn't really know what I was looking for. And that's, that was kind of stupid on my part, but like somebody in there said, you live and you learn.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, one of the things I recommend, and when I did that podcast with Danny, I said it, if you don't know anything about working on a zero turn and the maintenance and all that, try to take somebody with you that does at least know something about them, so you can be a little bit more confident in what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, that thing cost me, I spent more in repairs on the thing in a year than I paid for it.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what it was when I bought my first zero turn. When I sold it, it had over 6,000 hours on it. It was 12 years old. and I sold it. I got $600 out of it, and the guy that bought it is still using it, but it was beginning to cost me more money than I would have had to make in a payment every month for a new one.
Yeah.
And I went to my wife. I said, "Hey, we need to make a decision. Do we need to upgrade, or do we need to just spend another $2,000 or $3,000 on a 12-year-old zero turn?" So, we thought about it, we prayed about it, and lo and behold, we decided to go buy a new one.
Well, see, at this point in time, for me, financing a new mower it's just not in the books for me. I've been married 3 times.
Yeah.
And that can tear your credit apart.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that was one of the reasons. I don't know if you heard earlier, I was talking about, the fact that I have an actual LLC.
Yep.
One of the reasons I got it was to build the credit for my business.
Right.
So, having an LLC, you can a lot of times get a business financing for equipment and things like that.
Yeah.
But, the whole successful thing, earlier this year, I was like, I'm done. I quit. I failed at this. But, when I ended this year, I actually have another small lawn care business incorporated into mine now. And I'm pretty sure I'll keep the majority, if not all, the yards that I ended the year with. So, I feel that I've now succeeded because I ended the year being a solo operator with 44 accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this real quick, because this is what a lot of people, I hear a lot of people say this, but nobody ever takes into consideration from another point of view of why. I personally think this is just a crazy comment because of the simple fact of, anybody who's in this business automatically knows that, you're going to go in these better neighborhoods and try to get them. But this guy says, why not start a route in a more richer neighborhood? I heard other guys say the same thing, that his neighborhood, there's no money. Well, maybe you need to find work in richer neighborhoods. But what these guys don't understand is there's no rich neighborhoods where you're at, and you're an hour away from anything that could be.
Well, we have a couple of well-to-do neighborhoods here, but the problem is we've got 3 lawn care companies here. The oldest one has been established for 25 years. The other 2 have been around for 15, 20 years. These are the names that all these rich people know, and that's who they go with because they've got the $150,000 truck setups, you know. So they go for image, and it's not easy for the little guy or the new guy to walk into one of these neighborhoods.
That comes down to another thing for me is I hear a lot of people say route density. Well, if you know where we live, there's no such thing as route density.
Same here.
It's like this town that I'm in. I told you there's like 50 companies in this town. Ideally, I wouldn't leave city limits to mow a yard. Realistically, I've got 49 other companies at least to compete with, so I have to do all the surrounding towns. Granted, they're within 15, 20 miles of here, but I have to. That's the reality. I've got to be willing to go to these other towns, or I'm never.
See, some guys don't have the richer neighborhoods. Anything around them within even a remote distance is the same that they have. So going to a richer neighborhood is not an option to mow 1 yard, even to try to start to get into that neighborhood. Because what if you drive that hour to mow that 1 yard, even though you keep promoting your business in that neighborhood all year round, or other surrounding neighborhoods that are richer? Well, you just wasted more money than you did staying in your own, your own niche.
A lot of these neighborhoods, they go with who their neighbor goes with, or they go with the person advertising on the radio or on TV, or can spend $50,000 a year posting Google ads. We've got 3 neighborhoods here where I live at that are decent neighborhoods. One of them's on the golf course. The cheapest house out there is $750,000.
Yeah.
And, they are all about the flash. It's just that. It's doctors and lawyers and stuff. The other two neighborhoods, I mean, they're not far behind them money wise, and it's constant. You drive through these neighborhoods, and except for their actual lawn care, everything else they're having done is people from Kansas City or Springfield. You know, the little guy in reality don't stand a chance
to drive down here and mow some properties, but I can't get any of them. You know.
Well, the thing, I don't know how you guys do, but I don't charge based on the economic situation of the neighborhood. I charge based on the difficulty of the yard and how much time it's going to take to do the yard. You know, we have a golf course not far from here. None of the houses are under $500,000. But I'm not going to roll up, and the footprint of the house takes up 3/4 of the lot.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, you got to actually go by the lot. I mean,
yeah, you can't go by just because the person paid $500,000 for a house, and they work at a law firm. You can't base your price based on that. You have to base it based on. You have to price it based on what time it's going to take you while you're there, because no matter what, no matter how you measure it, time is money. And if you can go in, like me and my son can go in, and he takes one weed eater and a zero turn, and I take another weed eater and the other lawnmower, and we go to two separate parts of the property, and we start working, and we work our way back to the truck, and whoever gets to the truck first grabs the blower, and does the blower cleanup. Well, when you have to trim bushes and all that kind of stuff, you can't price a job based on the economic situation of the neighborhood. You have to do it based on the property. And so from my perspective, to correct me if I'm wrong, but going to a richer neighborhood ain't gonna make no difference.
Well, no, Matt says you won't know till you try. It's like playing the lotto. But here's my thing on that is, they say a certain percentage of companies go out of business within the first 2 years, and this is why right here is because of this comment. They try playing the lotto. They're doing anything and everything to get money coming in, so they're driving all over the place, thinking they're making money when in reality they ain't making crap. And then they go out of business because now they can't afford to keep up on their maintenance when their mower breaks down or whatever the case may be. You got to know where your market is, where you're at, and if you don't know where your market is, then you're going to flunk. It's that simple. There is no lotto in this game per se. It's literally just knowing your market, your area.
No, the only lotto to lawn care is on whether you're going to make it through your first year or not. That's the lotto. It don't matter where you're mowing at. But
I'll tell you, if I was to do it all over again, my first year I took on anything and everything because I was one of these guys who literally, oh my God, I'm going to go out of business if I don't, get this money, and drive all over God's creation and do the small things for clients. While you're here, can you do that? Oh yeah, sure I can. And that's probably the worst thing I ever did in 2 years. Literally, my first 2 years, that's probably the worst thing I ever did. If I was to go back and do it all over again, there's no way I would have did it the way I started doing it. Because it's honestly amazing that I didn't go out of business.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago when I first started, I had a customer that
I agree with that.
I've known him for years, and I've known his mom for years, and he's a truck driver, so she always made sure she was there at the house when I came to mow because the guy's wife, she's pretty demure. She just doesn't go out of her way to talk to people. And his mom would milk on the fact that they had known me all these years. And it's, oh, well, JD's not home. Can you do this for me? Can you do this so it can get done? And I was doing it. And then I realized, you know what? I'm killing myself. I'm over here. I'm spending 2 hours here doing a honey-do list that's not mine, trying to be nice to my customer.
Yep.
And I'm losing all this money I could be mowing these yards. Well, I use the fact that I have other customers as my scapegoat. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't because I've got somebody else expecting me at their property in like 5 minutes. I have to go. I mean, having other clients gives you a scapegoat to get out of doing that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're, like Matt said, if you're not making money, or you're barely making money, then you need to change something like that. It's that simple. And that's a true statement, but I don't recommend anybody going out and like just driving an hour away to try to do something if you're barely making any money, because then the money you are making is taking that gamble of but I would say go and put flyers out in some of these subdivisions and try to get the clients in, and hopefully you get more than one. That's I mean, yeah, it's
well, the 3 well-to-do neighborhoods here where I'm at, I mean, it's when you enter, it's no soliciting everywhere.
Yeah.
And our city ordinance says leaving a flyer on the door is soliciting. So, I mean, you can't do that. You can't go up and knock on somebody's door. You just can't. That's our city ordinance.
I have there's the golf course I was speaking of is actually probably 20 miles away from here, but I've got one literally 3 miles away from my house, and I have one customer in there, and they're real sticklers for that very thing. You can't go door to door. Now, if a neighbor sees you and walks across the way to talk to you, that's different.
Yeah.
But I mean, this lady is a widow. She has a disabled daughter, and she's at home all the time. And her husband passed away many years ago, but left her extremely well off. And her yard, the footprint and everything I had to do, $65. And that's why if you see my videos, that's why I do pressure washing, but I do pressure washing for my customers only. And I do that as a convenience to them, but it pays me extra money. And that's where I make it. I don't do pressure washing all the time. I might do 10 pressure washing jobs a year, but it pays me well enough to make up the difference, and it gives me that little extra nut.
Well, I've found, and I mean, it's a sore subject for me right now, but I found my best business getter is actually Google My Business. I mean, if you can get the reviews and get up there, I was getting 20 calls a month off of Google My Business through the entire season. Right. And I mean, I did the business cards, I did the flyer, I did all that. But I honestly don't think I got a call one off of any of that. I got calls either because of Google My Business or because of someone seeing the quality of my work in somebody's yard. I mean, or somebody, hey, I need to get somebody to mow my yard. Who would you recommend? And it's my customers. I mean, I have a very loyal customer base. I mean, and it's word of mouth is power. Yeah, I even had a guy earlier this year following me around and figuring out where all my customers were, and actually went to my customers and told them he was my business partner, that I sent him to mow their yards.
Oh, you had that happen to you too?
Yeah. But of course, I didn't lose a customer one over it. Every one of them called me. When I showed up, they talked to me.
This is one of the reasons, and this is a true story. My wife is sitting behind me, and she can verify what I'm fixing to tell you is 100% accurate. I had an employee. Matter of fact, he was my mom's next door neighbor. And this guy was trying to get a handyman service off the ground. I don't have a problem recommending him because I knew the guy. He was a good guy. Went to church with him and everything. And little did I know that he was going behind my back on the days that I wasn't doing the yards, telling them he could do their yard for half the price I could do their yard.
Well, the individual I'm speaking of, I didn't even know who he was. I'd never met the man. I had no clue who he was. And I mean, the guy, one of the reasons he's resorted to these underhanded tactics. I mean, his work, it speaks for itself. I mean,
hmm
he's the $25 guy. I mean,
Right.
the reality of the situation.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, he can't keep a client. He mows 2 or 3 times and they fire him. So, I mean, when you're, I mean, that's just.
That's one thing I take pride in. I don't try to be better than anybody else. I try to be better than me yesterday.
Well, see, my philosophy is this. I want to make every one of my customers' yards not look like mine looks because I'm out mowing everybody else's yards. I don't have time for my own. But I want to make theirs look like I want mine to look. And the philosophy I operate is this. I don't care if you have no money left at the end of the month and your house ain't the best. I don't care. When you come home, that is your home.
Yeah.
You want your home to be as comfortable for you as it can be. And if you're spending that extra money that you don't really have to pay me to come mow your yard, it's my obligation to make your yard look the best that I can make it look.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like here where I'm at, nobody knows what edging is. I pick up a customer and I go to tell them about edging their property and they're like, what's that? How much extra is that going to cost me? And I tell them it doesn't cost you anything. I mean, I want your yard to look as much as possible like the last guy's yard I mowed. I want every one of my yards to look as good as I can make them look. And part of that is edging. I mean,
yeah. Edging. I had a customer, this was years ago. I had a customer one time, she had a sidewalk and a back patio. Now the patio was pretty good size, but she had a gravel driveway, but she had a sidewalk, and she thought the sidewalk, and I know you probably can't tell with my hands, but the sidewalk was literally about 8 inches wide, and the patio looked tiny. And I said, we'll come in here and get the concrete edged up. And she said, what's that? She said, the guy before me, all he did was he would mow the grass, weed eat around the house, and blow off my sidewalk and my patio. And I said, well, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. And just like you just said, she was like, well, how much extra is that going to be? I said, that's part of the service.
Yeah.
And when we got through, I kid you not, the grass had grown over the patio all the way around it 1.5 foot because the guy never edged it. And she came home just as we were loading up all the equipment. And she stood in her yard. Now, this lady lived in a single wide mobile home. She was not rich by any means. She didn't have a lot of money. She lived in a mobile home park. Now, understand what I just said. She was a mother of 3. She didn't have a lot of money. She was a single mom. I mean, she was divorced, of course, but she was living in a single wide mobile home. And she didn't have a lot of money. I was charging her $45 to cut her grass. And it was maybe 1/3 of an acre. Well, when she come home, she got out of her car and she looked at her sidewalk, and dude, she started crying. She said, my yard has never looked this, in her word, immaculate. And I said, you know what the difference is? She said, what? I said, the edging. I said, because now you have a defined line between the concrete and the grass. I said, it makes it look manicured.
Well, there's 2 things that make you stand out from everybody else. One is edging. The second is don't leave grass on top.
No.
Those are the 2 things. I mean, here where I'm at, and Danny's been down here and seen it. These guys down here, rain will push them back. They'll just come through, do a quick cut, and it looks like a hayfield.
Yeah.
And it's like, who did that? But where I'm at, these big companies, they hire all kids. Because, I mean, that's your most ready employee pool is kids.
Yeah.
And these kids don't have any pride in what they do. They haven't got to that point yet.
Right.
And see, that's one of the other pitfalls of having multiple crews, especially if you're out on a crew yourself, because you can't keep track of what these guys are doing to these properties. And it's just
go ahead.
It's just not something I want to do. And Danny gives me so much crap. You know, I do one-time cuts, but I'm still small enough I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go in to do a one-time cut, I put just as much care into that one-time cut as I do into my weekly customers cut.
Absolutely.
And these one-time cuts, more often than not, they're like, hey, dude, you made my yard look awesome. How much would you charge me to just start mowing it every week? You know, I mean, I've been there several times. Excuse me,
Danny.
I got to take a phone call. My wife's calling.
All right.
What I miss?
Oh, we were just talking about, you know, taking pride in the work and everything. The one thing what I was fixing to tell him, the one thing that that I try to do is I don't try to be better than anybody else. I try to be better than I was yesterday, you know. And he was saying that, you know, he does everybody's yard the way he wants his to look. And that, I think that's what we all try to do. You know,
well, I did a video last year, or I think might have been 2 years ago. I don't know, but I was talking about, you know, everybody likes looking at all these nice properties and everything. In reality, a lot of us don't have just all nice properties. Like
Right.
We may have some, but what I told everybody you got to keep in mind that you may think that's the biggest crap lawn ever. They're paying you, okay? They're paying you. But here's the reality of it. The reality of it to me is this is somebody's paradise. It may not be paradise to me, but to them, it's their paradise. So I take pride in their lawn just as much as I would a $400,000 lawn. Like, I mean, it don't matter to me.
Now, what size, if you don't, I don't know that we've ever discussed this, but what is the average size lawn you cut?
Mine's probably average, probably around a quarter of an acre.
You've got a lot of yours are about that. Yeah, a lot of yours are about that, but then you've got some decent sized stuff too.
Oh yeah. Well, average is about a quarter of an acre.
Yeah,
pretty much normal subdivision lots for the most part.
Yeah, mine are, you know, quarter to a third. I have some half acre. I have some acre, and then my commercial most of my commercial properties are 4 to 6 acres.
I can tell you this though. The funnest property Danny has, and it's not even the yard itself. Actually, it is the yard. It's a trailer park yard.
Oh, yeah.
This woman here, she's like 70, 80 years old. Do not leave a stripe in her yard. She wants, oh, yeah. And Danny quit letting me mow it because I'd go out there and purposely leave stripes. And she would be waiting. She'd be waiting at that door for Danny to come pick that check up. And it was like, yep, I'm not going to get it. You got to go get it. They don't go get that check. Nope, it'll be there next week. And oh yeah, I did. She oh my God, when we first started doing this property this last season, the vines were just unreal on this property. I mean, you couldn't even, there was a massive tree, you couldn't even see it. And she got to talking to Danny about removing these vines. And I mean, she's one of those that once you start on one thing, she's going to want something else.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And Danny told her, she said, sorry, man, we don't do it. And she's like, what kind of a lawn care guy doesn't do anything but mow yards? Oh, this woman here, it's probably the funnest yard that I did with me.
But then she asked me, we got into pricing of doing stuff.
And, here we go.
Yeah, we got into pricing of, she's like, I want this done and this done. And I was like, okay. And I'm adding it all up. And she's like, she said, how much does that be? And I said, you'd be looking at about $160. And she, I said, you'd be looking at about $160. And she goes, $160? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she goes, oh, forget it. Like, it was hilarious. Like, just to see the look in her face.
Well, I did a video It's been, I think it was like 2 or 3 videos back. The title of it was I fired her. And now I'm sure you guys are the same way. I try to keep my relationship with my clients on a professional level. I'll stand and talk to you all day long, but I'm not going to get into, and I know we're on a live stream and I'm going to do this as clean as I can. I'm not going to sit here and discuss what color your bowel movement was.
Yeah. Your personal life is your personal life.
Yeah, that's just a line I don't cross. But this lady was 87 years old, and you were talking about being picky. Now, when I first started doing this lady was one of my wife's friend's mother, and I wanted to accommodate her because she was an older lady. Her husband at the time was sick, and she needed help. So I stepped in and took over the yard. Well, her yard, and I'm going to do it the sideways so you can see it, her front yard was on a little bit of an incline like that. Well, my small machine weighs about 650 to 700 pounds. My big Gravely weighs 1,500 pounds. And she wanted me to push mow the front yard. I said, Brian, don't push mow. Because here's the thing. The way the front yard was oriented, I can weed eat it quicker than I can push mow it. So for 4.5 plus years, I weed eated that entire front yard just to accommodate this lady. I didn't charge her any extra. The price I quoted her was the price I charged. And I went to her house, and with at the risk of and trying to stay away from it, it was over this stuff going around. That's all I'm going to say. And when she asked me, had I made arrangements to be protected, I told, because my mother-in-law had been sick, and I said, no. I said, she wasn't. And I said, neither. And she said, well, and she did exactly what she did. She went, are you? And I said, no, ma'am. And she went, I'm done. I'm done with you. And she walked in the door and slammed the door in my face.
The one thing about this whole COVID thing, I mean, we have probably one of the safest professions that there is.
Yeah.
Because they can deal with you on the phone. They can talk to you through a door, and they can set your money. And when you come up, slide your money. I mean, you never have to have face-to-face contact with them.
And the thing is, because of her advanced age and her living alone and me being a married man, I kept my distance away from her anyway. I never went up on her front porch. I always stood out in the yard, and she stood at her front door. So we were 30, 40 feet apart to begin with. And anyway, to make a long story short, I already had the blower, on the back, because I had to blow the front yard. Then I was going to weed eat and everything, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, I went and got the blower. I cranked it up. I put it on my back. And the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need the stress. I don't need the constant, pickiness. And this lady was very, very picky. And so I thought, you know what? She's right. I'm done. I went and put my blower on the rack. I locked it up. I got in my truck, and I called her, and I said, and here's the thing. She already owed me money. And I said, you know what? I said, with all due respect, I said, keep your money. I'm not coming back.
Well, chances are if you're on a payment schedule with somebody, or they just owe you money and you quit them, you're not going to get paid. I mean, the reality of the situation, you're probably not going to see that money anyway.
No.
It's just like in the whole unreliability aspect, something I actually talked about in one of the videos I just posted on my channel. Customer relationships have to be there. I mean, it's like, if you're scheduled to mow a yard today, I don't care if they can look out the window and tell it's pouring down rain and they know you're not going to be there. You still need to call them, text them something, and let them know, hey, look, I'm not going to be there. I will be there first thing tomorrow.
That's
a scheduled day.
When I get a new customer, I'd make that abundantly clear. if we have inclement weather on Monday, and Monday is your scheduled day, or Thursday is your scheduled day, I will be there the following day.
Well, for me, because it gets really wet where I'm at, I go by how wet the ground is.
Yes, same here.
You know, but you get these guys that are not contacting their customers, or they're constantly, well, I'm scheduled for this day, and they're not there. And then, they just, lawn care is a cutthroat business. I mean, don't show up if you want to. They're going to hire somebody else. And in that situation also, just like if you fire a customer, if they fire you, chances are if they owed you money, you're not going to get it.
No.
And the thing is, when you show up and their yard's mowed, or you show up and somebody else is mowing it, they're not even going to talk to you most likely.
No.
They're not going to answer the door. They're not going to answer their phone. And you can come by there every day knocking on that door trying to get your money. You can send them a text message every day. You can call them every day. They're not going to answer, most likely. And eventually you're just going to quit. I mean, that's money you lost because you didn't have that customer relationship. But on this channel I've started up, I'm not going to throw my name on my channel out there, and I'm not trying to promote it. But the whole intention for my channel is a lot of these big guys out here, that's got these great big channels, and they've always got all these videos called how to do this, and you can do this for this amount of money. The reality of the situation, that's not happening.
No.
You can start a lawn care business for $1,200 and be successful. No, you're not.
No,
it's not happening. Or you can go out there, you can get a push mower and a leaf blower and a weed eater, and you're going to be successful. No, it's not that easy. And the whole goal for my channel, I don't care if I ever get monetized. I mean, that'll be nice. Some of the videos that I'll be posting are actually shared videos, but my goal is
Hang on a minute. So Lawnscape said you still need to do a fast and great job. You can't be dealing around just because you're solo. How much are you paying yourself an hour? And I said, well, that's going to be different for everyone because everyone's got different expenses. Everyone's got different amount of properties. Everyone's got different profits. That's the numbers you need to be going off of to know what you should be paying yourself.
I mean, ideally, we all want to make $65, $75 an hour, but
right.
That's not the reality of the situation all the times.
Well, right, yeah, but I'm saying, you need to know your price, and I don't know what this is getting at, but in order to know what you should be paying yourself, you have to know what your maintenance is, what your profits are, what everything is, what you have coming out, in order to know what you're paying yourself. So it's going to be different for everybody. Every company, it's going to be different. I'm not going to pay myself $60 an hour because you do. It's going to be different for everybody because everybody has a different maintenance. Everybody has different properties. Everybody makes different amounts of money.
Yeah. For most of this year, the only money that I made was when I was up there working with you because, I started the year out with equipment issues and just all kinds of stuff. I started this season with 3 properties. I made a mistake and got in bed with the real estate agencies my first year, and I've still got money owed to me because the agencies themselves don't pay you. They rely on their clients to pay you, and chances are they're not even in state. But most of this year, I worked for free and was taking money that Danny was paying me and putting in. And now I didn't like working for free when I was out mowing these yards that I've got, but I was working for an end goal. I had to get myself back to that point to where I could start making that profit. Yeah. But, I've still got to think about how many yards I'm mowing and what each one of these yards are paying me. I've got to think about my cost for mowing each of these yards. I got to think about all that before I can think about how much I'm going to pay myself. By the end of the season, I was making for myself after my expenses, I was making about $20 an hour. Ideally, I want to make $50, $60, $70 an hour. But within the next year or so, I'm hoping that's where I'm at.
Well, the way I everybody's different how they run their business. I have, I have
I didn't block you.
I
got me going to look.
I don't have. I'm not an LLC. I'm a sole proprietorship, and at the end of the year, I do a Schedule C for my taxes. Well, I can't remember last year. I believe it was. I made a pretty decent profit. I mean, for the year. I mean, but basically what I do, I don't pay myself a salary. I've never done that.
Well, see, as a solo, you can do that. As an LLC, you really got to pay yourself a salary.
Right.
Because the money's completely separate. I don't just use my Social Security number and just pay taxes on my income. I've got my Social Security number that I've got to pay my taxes on for what I pay myself. And then my business has its own Social Security number that I got to pay taxes on.
Do you have a federal tax ID number?
Yeah, I've got an EIN number. Yeah, I've got all that.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things you got to take into account before you can pay yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And decide how much you're going to pay yourself.
Because whether you do or not, the business is going to eat.
Yeah. There's a kid here where I live at. This kid is like the ultimate inspiration to me. I watch this kid. He's been mowing yards for about 2.5 years now. He started mowing these yards when he was 11. His mom or dad, whichever one was off when they were due to be mowed, took him around to mow them. When he started this, he started it with Walmart off-the-shelf stuff. Mm-hmm. This kid literally scrimped and saved every single. He didn't go out and buy sodas. He didn't do none of that. He didn't spend a dime of it on himself. This last season, he started out with a $2,500 walk-behind mower, top of the line echo blower. Everything. He took every penny he made and invested it back in himself. Well, granted, he can do that. He's at home with mom and dad. He's 11, 12, 13 years old.
Right.
He can do that because mom and dad are paying them other bills. But, when you see a kid like that, that's an inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
When you see somebody that's more worried about growing their business than they are having a brand new truck or that brand new iPhone, things like that. Someone like that, you can't do nothing but be impressed by them.
Yeah. Here I am. Now, I see these guys run around where I live. They've got the, $5,000-$6,000 trailers. They've got 3 zero turns on it. They've got 5 weed eaters. Why in God's name somebody needs 5 weed eaters?
They got 5 weed eaters and 1 employee.
Yeah. You got 5 weed eaters. You got 5 edgers. You got 3 backpack blowers. And you're driving a $50,000 truck.
Well, they're going to tell you that they've got all that extra equipment so they got fallback in case they need it. But that has nothing. The reality of that situation is they're saying, look what I got. I'm bigger than you. I'm better than you. I'm successful.
Yeah, they're doing this.
Yeah, but, Danny picks on me all the time about my truck.
What kind of truck you got?
I've got a 98 F-150 four-wheel drive that the four-wheel drive don't even work in. It's a rust bucket. When you go down the road, you're doing this with it. But you know what? That thing will pull the trailer and that thing will haul debris.
Hey, I got a 96 F-150 Eddie Bauer edition four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive works. It's got 231,000 miles on it.
I don't even know how many miles are on my truck. My phone's my speedometer. My odometer don't work.
I bought that when I bought that truck. I had a 92 Ford Ranger, and I had a wreck. Guy from another city wasn't familiar with this area, and he thought the intersection was a 4-way stop. Well, he pulled out in front of me, and I totaled my truck. But anyway, I found this truck on Craigslist and went and looked at it, and the lady, made me a deal, got the truck. It had 97,000 miles on it. Well, it's got the old school 5.8 Windsor engine in it. It's got the E40D transmission, and I'm telling you, if it can get traction, it'll pull the gates of hell off the hinges. That's a working rascal. So
you hear that, Danny?
Don't let Danny make fun of your truck now.
Oh, the whole reason he makes fun of it. It's not because of what it looks like. It's not even because of how old it is. It's because it's a Ford.
And hey, first on race
Look,
day.
I know when he's coming
Love
to the
my
house
tools.
because you can hear it squeaking all the way around the block before it
Hey,
gets
in
here.
my truck's defense, it did not do that until my baby brother rode it. Now, mind you, I'm the oldest and the smallest. My baby brother is like 6'5" and 500 pounds.
Wow.
He got in the passenger side seat. My wife was giving him a ride. He got in the passenger side seat, and then that side started squeaking. Then one day she let him drive the truck. Then the driver's side started squeaking. So, yeah, I mean, I can't sneak up on nobody. You hear me squeaking down the road.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even when I get to the point to where I can't afford a nice truck, that truck will still be around. That truck will be the one I go out, because that truck, I can put some debris on that truck. That truck will haul something.
That's why I didn't buy a new truck, is because mine's paid off. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, there's no reason for me to get a new truck.
I want, if I had the money and I was going to stay in this business, I would buy me probably about a 2000 to 2004 F-250 with the 7.3 in it.
Well, I think once I get the money to upgrade on a work truck, I'm going diesel. Now, granted, diesel costs a little bit more, but it lasts so much longer now. I mean, that's just where I'm going whenever I do buy a truck. But this truck here, once I get another one, this one's going to the shop and everything's getting fixed on it. Because, I mean, it's a workhorse. It's got that big 5.4 Triton in it. And, I mean, that thing it's a beast.
Yeah, see, that's the way I feel about mine. My son names everything, and he named my truck Jack. Well, he wants my truck when I get another one, and he's 17 years old. And so what I'd like to do with it is I'd like to park it, fix the little cosmetic stuff that a 17-year-old boy would like to have fixed on the interior. Get it cleaned up, get it detailed and everything, put some nice rims on it for him, and then let him drive it. That'd be his first, because it's built like a darn tank. I mean, the guy that bought this, ordered this truck new, he owned Cumulus Broadcasting Company. It's a radio company, and he ordered this truck to pull a 32-foot cabin cruiser. It's got the 2-stage oil cooler. It's got it's got dual transmission coolers, and it's got a 2-flue radiator in it, where most F-150s have the 1-flue. And I'll put it this way: I had to replace the radiator in it not long ago, and I made a video of it, but the video didn't turn out really good because the camera angles and everything were not good. So I never did edit it and post it. But when I put that radiator in there, I didn't realize how much the other radiator was stopped up, because now it will barely get warm in the wintertime. I mean, it puts out lukewarm air in the cab. It don't put out really hot heat.
Oh, that truck of mine, that thing will burn you out. And my windows are temperamental. They work when they want to.
Yeah.
And when you're in that thing and you got that heat cranked up and you're going down the road and you're highway and you can't put the window down, I usually find it, because I can pull over, shut the truck off, because I've got where you can put the windows up and down after you turn the key off. As soon as you shut the truck off, you can put the windows down. So I usually, when I get in, I just start out by cracking the windows and getting it over with.
Yeah. Do we run Danny off?
It's hard to tell him what he's doing. He may have went to the bathroom or anything. But yeah, what I was saying though, my channel, I'll be, some of the videos that'll be on there will be shared videos. My goal with that is to take these little guys out here that are just starting out, or these people that have been doing it and they're running into roadblocks, trying to teach them how to get around them, tips and tricks.
Yeah.
And, it's like, I just shared a video on, it's a Harley carburetor, but it's still a small engine carburetor. The rebuild is the same. I shared that video and I put it under a category I started called small engine repair, because, I mean, the little guy, the guy just starting out, if he can figure out how to do this on himself, chances are he's only got one mower. And anybody that's ever taken a mower to a mower shop knows you don't know when you're going to see that mower again.
You got that right.
And that was one of my big fears, because I run with just one mower. I don't have a second mower. I mean, I do, but it's a push mower, and I don't want to have to use that if I don't have to. So, either knowing somebody that can fix it for me without taking it to a shop or knowing how to do it myself, that's a big advantage when you're a little guy. I mean, because not everybody's got $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 to go throw around just for a backup mower.
Right.
So that's the goal.
The way I got my backup mower, it's a Craftsman Z6400. So 2000.
I'm sorry, it's a Craftsman. I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, dude, that thing's built like a tank, dude.
My wife will never let me buy Craftsman again after I bought a Craftsman chainsaw.
I had a customer whose father passed away, and the guy that his father had cutting the grass and doing the work, he wasn't doing anything. I mean, he'd go out and run over the yard, blow off the driveway, and leave. I mean, that's all he did. And when I got to the house, now, Danny, turn around and look at your garage doors. Imagine both of those garage doors from the floor to the ceiling being covered in ivy.
Being covered in what?
Covered in ivy.
Vines.
That's the way this guy's, the entire front of his house, windows included, was covered in ivy, all the way up to the shingles. And they wanted the bushes trimmed. They wanted all that ivy gotten out. The backyard was even worse. And so he wanted me to give him an estimate on what to do and how to deal with this. So I looked around, and when we walked in the backyard, I mean, the grass in the backyard literally was up to my waist. I'm 5'8", and it was up to my waist. And we walked through there, and then we turned and walked around the swimming pool. And when we did, I saw this lean-to shelter. And under that lean-to shelter was sitting this Craftsman Zero Turn. It had a flat tire. And I said, does that mower run? He said, yeah, it runs. He said, it's barely got any hours on it. And he said, when Dad got sick, he had just bought that mower. And so he said, my brother will take it down to his house and mow his grass and bring it back and then do Dad's yard. Well, anyway, make a long story short, I said, I gave him the estimate, and he said, that much, huh? I said, yeah. I said, but listen, I said, what are you going to do with that Craftsman mower? He said, we're probably going to sell it. I said, don't sell it. I said, I'll do every bit of this work in exchange for that machine. And he said, are you serious? I said, yeah. So I had to put out the labor. I didn't have to put out any extra money, any extra funds. I didn't have to, pay dump fees or anything like that. I literally worked that off and took possession of that machine. And then they called me back because I did such a good job. They called me back to pressure wash around the swimming pool and the driveway and the carport.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with hillbilly haggling on occasion. I mean, I've done it.
I actually made money on that. And I just put a new deck under that Craftsman because it is a homeowner grade. I mean, it's a residential mower. It's not built for commercial use. And I wore the deck out because when I got that mower, I was in transition from going from my old machine to my new machine, big machine. And so I was kind of in limbo, and I had to have something to work with because my other Zero Turn was broke down. So while I was waiting for my new one to come in, I used that one. Well, I'm telling you, that thing is, to be a Craftsman, it is a stout machine. It's got a 22 horse Kohler engine on it, and it never fails to start. But the reason I'm saying all this, if you come up with a customer that has something like that where you can work a deal on getting you a second mower, do that. That's what I mean.
I mean, there's whatever you got to do to get that second mower. But I mean, some guys are going to have to wait a while before they get that opportunity for anything like that. So, I mean, that's the goal of those videos, is to show them guys how to keep their stuff running. Because I'm sorry, but I'm scared of the lawnmower shop other than going in buying a part or a blade or a belt.
Yeah.
I'm scared of them.
Well, see, I try to do as much myself as I can. I do know my limitations. but I'm what the old folks used to call a tree shade mechanic.
Yeah.
But I do what I can, but then I do know my limitations. And when I reached that, I was like, hey, it's time for me to take my hands off of it and let somebody else do it.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to this business that people don't realize when they just jump into it, and they're misled by some of these channels and most of the channels that are doing that, they've got some kind of a program they're selling as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still watch these channels that do that, but a lot of the lawn care channels that I watch, it has nothing to do with a word coming out of their mouth. I am actually watching what they do to, pick up tips and tricks and things like that. It's like 2 years ago, I had a yard. A buddy of mine's got a lawn care service. He called me and asked me if I wanted to tackle it. This lady, there was an elderly couple. Her husband had died. She moved to the lake with her brother to live with him because she was in pretty bad shape health-wise.
Right.
Well, she had hired a lawn care company to mow her yard, to take care of the house because she still owned it. And in the back, in the backyard, part of it was fenced in with a chain link fence, and it just had a normal chain link gate. You're not fitting a 50 or 60 inch mower in there. Well, behind the fence was an old grape arbor. Well, the fence-in area, the grape arbor area, they didn't mow none of that. They were billing her for it, but they weren't mowing it.
Oh, Lord.
Well, Jake gets a hold of me, and he's like, look, man, he says, I want you to go by and look at this property. Give me a price for cleaning it up. He says, if you want to do it, I'll just give you the woman's contact info, but nobody will do it for her. And I went in there, and, of course, it was the hottest day of summer. My wife went in and helped me. And, I mean, we about died that day. I couldn't get my zero turn in there. It was an old garden area. I mean, it wasn't real rough, but it was just weed heaven, and they were 5-6 feet tall. And we was in there trying to do this with a string trimmer and a push mower.
Oh, Lord, mercy.
We got it done. It got down. Well, then I was watching, there's a channel, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching him. And, he doesn't really do a lot of talking about what he's doing. A lot of it, he's just doing the work.
Yeah.
And I watched him jump out of his truck, getting ready to start a yard. And he pulled a hitch trimmer out with a pivoting head on it and ran that thing down through the ditch. The ditch was kind of overgrown. And I'm like, I wonder if other people do this, how good it works. And then I started searching on YouTube for that. And I seen other people are doing it. And I'm like, you know what? I wish I would have known that.
Right.
It's the little tips and tricks and things.
Oh,
and you don't so much learn that by listening to what they're saying. You learn it by watching them.
I knew an old black guy years and years and years and years ago. I've always weed-eat a ditch bank. If it's a short distance, it's okay to, go swing back and forth like this. But he told me, he said, if you'll rev that weed eater up wide open, keep the string about that long on either side of it, and just walk and try and come back this way. He said, you can weed eat that ditch bank in a third of the time. So I've got one property that's got a ditch bank that's over 300 feet long. I mean, if you take both sides, it's over 300 feet long. And I did that, and I was astonished at how fast I weed eat that ditch bank on both sides. And because you don't have to weed eat all the way up to the top, you just have to weed eat enough to where the mower can reach the uncut grass. And he also gave me his name was Martin. He also gave me a little tip. He said, the mark of a good weed eater, man? I said, what's that? And this guy, at this time, this was back in like 1987. He said, the mark of a good weed eater, man, is not being able to tell where the weed eater stopped and the mower started.
Yeah, see, that's one of the things I'm big on. Everybody thinks they know how to run a weed eater.
No.
They'll just put that head on the ground and go. and you can tell everywhere they were.
Yep.
My goal when I'm running a weed eater, and Danny feels the same way, if you want to cut that grass with that weed eater as close as possible to that mower cut.
Yep.
And I mean, every once in a while you're going to get a little off, but that's just the nature of that beast, because the weed eater gets heavy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's one of the reasons I've never really so much ever thought about trying to hire anybody, because it takes a while to get somebody used to doing that. And until they get used to it, your lawns are going to look like crap.
Yeah. I was trying to explain to an employee about how to taper around a house. And he said, "What do you mean taper?" I said, "You never had a tapered haircut?" And he said, "Well, I don't know what you mean." I said, "When you go around the foundation of a house," that's my wife in the background, I said, you lift this edge of the string up off the ground. I said, you don't dig it in the dirt. I said, but you tilt that head as you're walking around the house. I said, it tapers the grass this way. That way, when the mower comes by, it cuts the grass that's tapered, and you don't have that definitive weed eater line.
Yeah. Well, fences are another big deal. Fences and trees and other obstacles. People think you just stick that weed eater right up against them. I mean, eventually you're going to have a customer saying, "Hey, you got to replace my privacy fence."
Yeah.
And I mean, you're going to, on occasion, you're going to touch that fence with that string. I mean, it happens. But once you learn how to run that weed eater, you might hear that once every 4 or 5 yards if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just knowing, getting that length on that string that you're used to running with and learning that string. One of the first things I do though with weed eater, I take that head off of it. I take that guard off, because that guard don't do nothing because that guard costs you money.
Oh yeah.
It just eats the string.
No. My 70-pound dog's trying to get in my lap. No.
I can't believe nobody's complained about mine in the background.
Well, you heard mine bark just then.
I've got a 3-year-old pit. I've got a 1.5-year-old pit, and I got an 8-week-old puppy.
We've got a 70-pound, 14-month-old boxer.
Oh, boxers and Dalmatians are my favorite dogs. They're hard to find.
Well, if you like boxers, check his channel out. It's Baron the Boxer Dog.
All right.
But he's laying there. He's looking at me like, "Can I please get over there?" No.
Boxers, they're unlike any other dog when it comes to personalities. I mean, every boxer is unique in its personality. I mean, it's just what they are.
I don't know if you can see him or not.
Oh yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah. And
every once in a while, well, more often than not, a boxer is just like having another kid. Even when they're 12, 13 years old, they're as bad as having a 7-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Their entire life, they're a toddler.
Yeah. I come in the morning, I'll get up in the morning, and he is instant crackhead. He wants to greet me and love on me because he ain't seen me for 12 hours, and he after his morning greeting, he'll go lay down, and then he wants to play tug of war.
The only other dog I've ever had besides boxers that personality just stood out was a Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Yeah.
That thing would say you wasn't getting the last word with him.
Mm-hmm.
You tell him no, and he go,
yeah. Aaron will argue with you too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, personality, we had that dog he was a rescue. We had him for every bit of 5 or 6 years. And I mean, it hurt when we had to put him down. I mean, he was the smartest dumb dog we ever had in our lives.
Yeah. When my wife and I got married 25 years ago, I had a Doberman Rottweiler mix, and I've never had a dog that liked to play with toys, and she was no exception. You throw a ball and she'd look at you like, "You want me to go get that?" But this dog, if he even sees a ball, his eyes start dancing.
My 1.5-year-old, she's actually a chocolate pit, but just dumb as a box of rocks. But that's all she wants to do is play.
Yeah.
She's so damn dumb. She licks her kennel cage. She licks windows. And if she ain't got either one of those, she licks the air.
Yeah.
But I mean,
kind of like Danny, huh?
Oh yeah. There's a couple of times I swear I seen him in the truck and we were out mowing yards licking his side window.
He heard that one.
You ever seen any videos with him with them big floppy straw hats on?
Yes.
He'll have them big floppy straw hats on, his earbuds in, cigar hanging out of his mouth, wearing his basketball shorts, just running across the yard, just doing this and dancing.
Now, I've got a hat on now because I know there are other people watching. But dude, I cannot stand wearing a hat. I've only got it on now because I'm on someone else's stream and I want to look presentable. But if you've watched any of my videos, I had a guy work for me. He was a cop and he worked at night, and then he worked for me during the day. And this was probably 4 years ago, and he always wore a bandana. And I said, his name was Dave. I said, Dave, why do you wear a bandana? I mean, this guy was Mexican. He's like like I wear mine. And he said, if you ever wear one, if you ever put one on your head, you'll never take it off. And I said, what do you mean? He said, it keeps the sweat out of your eyes. It keeps the trash out of your hair. And he said, and it keeps the sun off of your forehead. It serves three purposes. And my uncle had to go through, my uncle was one of those, is 100 degrees outside. He was outside without a shirt on. I mean, he looked like a Sasquatch. But, he was that hairy. But he got a little lesion right there on his forehead on the right side. And he went in and it was pre-cancerous. So he had that removed. And then he had to do what they call a chemical peel. And he told me, now you can ask my wife, I've got a collection of hats. I never put them on. Because, I collect them, but I don't like to wear them unless I absolutely have to. Well, he had to do that chemical peel. And he told me, he always called me, he called me Brian or hey you, whatever he felt like calling me at the time. He said, listen, he said, whatever you got to do, he said, protect your forehead. He said, that chemical peel ain't no joke. He said, it's not something you want to go through.
Well, I lived in Texas for 13 years. So, I understand the whole bandana thing. I've always wore hats. But what I learned, I didn't wear, like a headband. I actually covered my entire head.
That's what I do.
And one of the things I've learned is, A, it does keep the sweat out of your eyes. B, it absorbs that sweat and it allows it to evaporate instead of just pouring. And, but the downside to it is when you take it off, you got to put a hat on immediately or you got that big white spot across your head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one of the reasons I wear hats I've had it my entire life. I don't have a forehead. I got a 12 head.
Yeah.
I've got long hair. I've got a ponytail, but I blind you on the camera. Yeah. Everybody says, oh, you got a receding hair. Like, no, I've had that my whole life.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't. My hair, I'm 55. My hair is white. As you can see, my beard.
I'm getting there.
I went completely gray by the time I was 39 years old. My family grays and whites early, and it's just I used to color my hair. Now, and I'm telling stuff about me that, most people don't know. And actually, Dave, the guy I was telling you about, Dave, he called me. He said, hey, he said, can you come over and help me? He said, I got something heavy I need to lift. So I walked through his gate, and he had a full-length storm door. Well, I looked in the door, and I saw this old dude walking through Dave's house, and I was like, who is that? And I looked, and it was my reflection. And I was like, nope, I ain't doing this. And I was like 50 years old, and I was like, nope, I ain't ready for this. So I started coloring my hair. Well, I got picked on and ragged and all that kind of stuff. I didn't care. Well, then when COVID hit, all this stuff changed and all that. And I was like, you know what? I don't care what color it turns as long as it don't turn loose. So,
Well, you know, I started getting all this gray on my face, you know, mainly in my goatee area in my 30s.
Yeah.
Well, my wife went out and bought me just some of that just for men facial hair dye.
Yep.
I tried one time. I put it on all this like it said to, let it set like it said to. And when it was all said and done, it's like it made the white whiter and the rest of it darker. So it made it stand out anymore. So I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I just deal with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things about whether it's lawn care, any industry or field where you work out in that sun. I mean, whether it be a hat, bandana, your attire has got to be feasible for it. It's like this shirt I've got on. I found this, and they're like $6 at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
The material they're made out of, they're like a moisture wick type material.
Yeah, like Under Armour.
Yeah, and I started wearing them, and then I got Danny to wear them. And I mean, these shirts are just, for being out in the heat, they're unreal. And then you get them wet and get out in this and driving down the road. And I tested this one night. Me and my wife were going to the next town over because there's a restaurant over there we like to go eat at now and then. And it was hot out. So I actually took my shirt, ran it under the water, wrung it out, and then put it on to drive to the next town over. And I actually felt like I was sitting in the air conditioning.
Wow.
Yeah, these shirts are on, and like I said, they're like $6 and something a piece at Walmart.
Yeah. Hey, it's a tax deduction.
But yeah, I mean, my closet's plumb full of these shirts now.
I'm so used to wearing sleeveless shirts. I don't know that I could wear, because with me, and I'm not buff or anything like that, I'm fat. And you know, when it starts pulling on this right here, I can't stand it. I can't, when I'm working, I can't have no sleeves on. It drives me up the wall because I'm constantly pulling on it like this. And so I just got used to wearing the sleeveless shirts. I used to wear what they call wife beaters, the
undershirts,
Under Armour tank tops.
Yeah.
And I just felt like they were kind of unprofessional. So I quit wearing those and I went back to wearing the sleeveless shirts. And I've had good response from it, but I seem to be cooler with them. But I like that material, but I ain't found one yet that's sleeveless.
Well, for my wife just said they've got the sleeveless ones at Walmart, and they did have them. They're like a basketball type,
right?
Straight, the sleeveless. But yeah,
do you know what brand they are?
Russells.
They're Russells, and I don't remember.
Athletic Works.
They're Athletics Works. They got this white stripe on the sleeve right here.
All right, we'll look for that.
But yeah, I mean, for me, I don't per se wear a uniform, which eventually we plan on this next season trying to get, company shirts, T-shirts.
Yeah.
I wish I could find someone that I could have do it on this type of material with, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
But I kind of adopted these kind of like as an official uniform shirt. And me personally, I just don't feel it's the look I want to be on a job site wearing shorts, even though it's cooler, or on the job site wearing sleeveless shirts or tank tops or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's just not the look I want. I mean, I'm not against the next guy doing it. But after I introduced Danny to these shirts, first thing he did was went out of his way to find him a pink one. We're at Walmart when he finds this shirt. There's these two women in there, just random women. They're in the clothes section.
Oh no!
Takes this shirt, runs across there, holds it up, and says, "You think I look good in this? Think this look good on me?" And these women are looking at him like,
"Who the heck are you?"
Yeah, and I said, no, he's being very serious. He wants to know if he's going to look good in that if he buys it. And like, yeah, you look okay in it. But yeah,
I would do.
They were just completely taken aback. They were like, who is this guy? What is this? They in their mind, they was thinking some guy being sarcastic or pranking or something. You could just tell by the look on their faces that they were just, whoa.
quick dry muscle tee. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. My wife's looking at them. There's my wife right there. She's looking at them now.
But yeah, like I said, the ones at Walmart, the cheaper ones, they got this stripe on the sleeve. Every one of them have got that, no matter what color they are. And they've got the Russells. I've got one Russell, but it was like $3 more. And I'm sorry, but lawn care, you're going to tear your clothes up.
Oh yeah.
So I would rather go with the cheaper one if it gives me the same effect.
They're $4.48.
Now, Danny, how often do you buy new clothing to wear to work?
Are we talking clothes or are we talking shoes?
No, clothing. I reply. I'll go to Walmart or I'll go to MJ Sophie. We have one of those here in town, and I'll buy 6 or 8, 10 new shirts to replace the old ones that have gotten stained or tore or whatever.
All I can see is a white glare.
That's
the sleeveless shirts. Yeah,
that's the
If
pink.
they'll be polyester.
Oh, the one Danny bought was like
That's probably them quick dry.
The one that Danny got was like a light bright pink.
They got white, blue.
But yeah, I'm gonna tell you now, don't ever go clothes shopping with Danny. I've been shopping with Danny more than once, and
Well, what was he saying? I don't know what he was
I
saying.
don't know. Where'd he go?
I don't know. He left. I don't know what happened. Oh, he's back. Oh, hang on. It looks like he's done talking.
Oh, there he is.
yeah, the whole mouse issue. He spent 45 minutes picking this poor woman's mind apart at Walmart over a computer mouse, going through all these different mouses, looking at them, and then he chooses the first one he picked up.
Danny, you overthink everything 100 times over, but we still love you.
This man is the worst overthinker.
I don't know. I believe my wife would disagree with that.
Yep.
Oh no.
My wife tells me all the time, you overanalyze everything.
You know, I specialize in underground drainage systems. I used to be a specialty foreman for the largest basement and foundation repair company in this whole area.
Right.
And I mean, I was doing 5 and 10 of these a week. Well, Danny decides he wants a drainage system for his sub pump. This man, I told him everything he needed. And this man sat and tried to pick apart everything I told him.
Right.
Then I get him to agree on what he needs. And then we go up there and go to Menards with him. So here, the whole overthinking and the picking everything apart started all over again.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and it's horrible.
If we could get him to be like that buying a lawnmower, he might buy something other than a Ferris.
Well, I don't know. I got to say, that Ferris is a damn good mower.
I'm just joking with him. He rags me all the time about running Gravely.
He says he wishes that Wright would sponsor him because he wants to run Wright mowers. He says he likes them big yellow beasts.
He talks about Gravely's clumping. I've run Gravely now for 14 years. I've never had problems with it clumping.
Yeah,
but you know the thing is who makes Gravely?
Aaron's.
Yeah. Aaron's, I am not impressed in any way, shape, or form with Aaron's. So, I mean, I don't see anything they make being worthwhile.
What you don't understand is Gravely is a different division from Aaron's. They own it. But see, here, I don't, do you run X-Mark?
No.
Okay.
We don't have X-Mark near us.
Okay.
No, we don't have that in this area.
X-Mark, you have to go back to like the 1960s in your research. The man that owns X-Mark or started X-Mark back in the early 70s, he was a former employee of the Gravely Corporation. And he wanted to, he tried to convince Mr. Gravely to build a lighter machine and it would be cheaper. And Mr. Gravely said, no, we're not doing that. So what he did, he redesigned a zero turn the way he wanted it to be, and then he pulled out of Gravely and started his own company, which is now called Xmark. And his name was Mark. And I don't think he owns it now, because this was back in the late 60s. But anyway, make a long story short, when the Gravely family sold to Aaron's, they would only sell with the agreement. And I've seen the article from Gravely. They would only sell it if Aaron's would build Gravely's to Mr. Gravely's specs. And it's a different division of Aaron's than.
Well, I understand that tools can be associated and affiliated and even made by the same manufacturer and be just completely different qualities. It's like Danny introduced me to the Red Max Weed Eater this year. I have worn so many Husqvarnas out, and I just have no faith in a Husqvarna anymore.
Right.
And I didn't know Red Max was made by Husqvarna until Danny told me. And when I put my hands on his Red Max for the first time, I fell in love. I mean, it's just like night and day between the two.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand that.
Steel.
Oh, I hate steel. I use steel, but I would prefer not to.
See, a lot of people say that. I've been running steel weed eaters for, probably 15 years.
I've got a couple of junk ones. You want them?
And I can tell you right now, I've never had a problem. As a matter of fact, I've got one in there right now. It's an edger, but it's got a weed eater head on it. As a matter of fact, my first video of doing lawn care is the review of that machine. And that machine right now is 7 years old, and I can go in there right now and crank it up. I mean, I've never even had to put a coil on it. It's got the original carburetor on it, and it fires right up, and it runs just as good now as it did the day I bought it.
Well, yeah, I mean, for years, the only chainsaw I wanted was a steel chainsaw.
Yeah.
And my last one, granted, it was a small one. It was just a little MS 170, but
That's what I have.
I'm sorry, it ain't got no balls. I actually just sold my MS 170 here a while back because I ended up buying a Bowling Pro just so I could have a second chainsaw that was a little bit bigger. And that Bowling Pro just runs rings around that steel. And it's like, you know what? I'm never going to use that steel again, so I might as well sell it to somebody that will use it.
What kind of chain were you running on it?
The standard. I couldn't never find a chipper chain to fit. I love chipper chains, but I just couldn't find nothing for it. I was running overdrives on it.
I run a carbide tip blade on mine. I've cut trees 16 inches across with it. I mean, it barely had enough bar to cut, and it eat right through it. I mean, and it to each his own. I'm just saying I've had success with it where you may not have.
Yeah, the one I had, you touch.
You can get a lemon in anything.
Yeah, it was a straight lemon.
Yeah.
I mean, but I figured I was never going to use it again, so I might as well sell it to somebody that's going to use it.
Right.
But yeah, one of the things I didn't like about it is only had one nut on it instead of two to take the chain guard off.
Well, see, mine's got two.
Mine only goes with one, where the other one would be is the tensioner screw.
Oh.
It was constantly coming loose on me.
Had a newer model than mine.
Yeah, it was only, when I sold it, it was only like a year old, if even that.
Because my MS 170 right now is about 6 years old.
Yeah, this one's maybe a year and a half old.
Oh, okay.
Right now it's maybe that old.
And you know what? They might have changed. I don't know. But the one I've got, I had a bit of problem with it.
I bought it from a farm and home, and I mean, this place has always been known for selling chainsaws.
Yeah.
And at first I thought somebody stole the nut off of it.
Right.
So the guy that owned the business, I mean, he's been in this field his entire life. He didn't even know he was selling chainsaws with only one nut on them.
Good.
He was running around trying to find another nut for it so I could buy it. And then we realized that was the tensioner hole.
Yeah. Wow. They change stuff constantly, you know, and when they find something that works, I wish they'd leave it alone.
But yeah, I mean, It just really depends on what it is, on what brand I like. It's like push mower. Me and Danny have a running argument over push mowers.
Mhm.
After I've got a Cub Cadet. It's my time, my drive, something like that. My
Yeah.
pace, something. I'll tell you why. That mower, it'll drag you. It'll run. You can jog with it and it'll mow that fast. And I mean, it's a beast.
Right.
And of course, he's got that little Toro thing that he kept telling me I had to use in a couple of spots we push mowed. And oh yeah, that thing, he swears up and down that Toro is fast. But I could never get him to use mine to see just how slow his was.
Right.
That's because I never adjusted it to pull somebody around. Shit.
Well, even after you adjusted it, I just didn't want to break your heart and tell you it still didn't go any faster.
No, it still got more adjustment in it.
Yeah, it just didn't make it go any faster.
Guys, I'm gonna have to slide. She's about to put
Yeah, I'm
supper on
fixing
the
to go
table.
eat.
Yeah,
Thank
my old
you.
lady just got back from going and buying Red Baron pizza.
Oh Lord. I don't know what we're having. She's surprising me tonight. What are we having?
Burgers.
We're having burgers. Sounds good to me. So, guys, y'all have a good evening and Happy New Year.
Same
Yes,
to
sir.
you.
Everybody have a good one. We are out of here.